What if the key to understanding life, death, and the afterlife lies buried deep within the sands of ancient Egypt? Hidden beneath the surface of this ancient civilization are artifacts so mysterious, so powerful, that they hold the secrets to a world beyond our own. Today, we're diving into the shadows of the Egyptian underworld to uncover 30 of its most enigmatic relics. These artifacts aren't just objects, they're gateways to a realm where gods ruled, souls were judged, and the line between life and death blurred. From the sacred Ankh to the cryptic Book of the Dead, each piece tells a story of a civilization obsessed with eternity. But what do these artifacts truly reveal about the ancient Egyptians' beliefs? And how did they use these objects to navigate the perilous journey through the afterlife? Stay with us as we unravel the mysteries of these 30 artifacts, each one a puzzle piece in the grand tapestry of the Egyptian underworld. By the end of this journey, you'll not only see these relics in a new light, you'll understand why they continue to captivate and mystify us thousands of years later. Let's begin. Now, let's step into the world of the Ankh, one of the most iconic symbols of ancient Egypt. Known as the Key of Life, the Ankh is instantly recognizable with its loop top and cross-like shape. But what does this mysterious symbol truly represent? For the ancient Egyptians, the Ankh was far more than just a decorative emblem. It was a powerful symbol of eternal life, a bridge between the mortal world and the divine. The origins of the Ankh are shrouded in mystery, but many scholars believe it may have represented the union of male and female energies, or even the rising sun, a daily reminder of rebirth and renewal. In Egyptian mythology, gods and goddesses were often depicted holding the Ankh, offering it to the pharaohs as a gift of immortality. This wasn't just a gesture, it was a promise of life beyond death, a key to unlocking the gates of the underworld. But the Ankh wasn't just a symbol for the gods. It played a vital role in everyday rituals and funerary practices. Priests would use the Ankh during ceremonies to bless offerings and purify sacred spaces. For the deceased, the Ankh was often placed in tombs or inscribed on coffins, serving as a protective charm to guide the soul safely through the trials of the afterlife. It was believed that the Ankh could restore breath and vitality, ensuring the deceased could continue their journey in the realm of the dead. What makes the Ankh so fascinating is its dual meaning. It wasn't just about life after death, but also about the continuation of life itself. The loop at the top symbolized the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth, while the cross represented the earthly plane. Together, they formed a powerful reminder that life and death were not opposites but part of an unending cycle. As we move forward, the Ankh sets the stage for understanding how deeply the ancient Egyptians intertwined their beliefs about life, death, and the afterlife. It's a symbol that continues to captivate us today, a timeless reminder of humanity's quest for immortality. Next, we'll uncover the secrets of the Book of the Dead, a guidebook to the underworld that reveals even more about the Egyptians' intricate beliefs. Stay with us as we continue this journey into the mysteries of the Egyptian afterlife. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the most fascinating and enigmatic artifacts from ancient Egypt, the Book of the Dead. This ancient text, far from being a single book, was actually a collection of spells, prayers, and incantations designed to guide the deceased through the treacherous journey of the underworld. Imagine it as a kind of ancient survival guide, packed with instructions to help the soul navigate the challenges of the afterlife and reach the eternal paradise known as the Field of Reeds. The Book of the Dead wasn't created all at once. Instead, it evolved over centuries, drawing from earlier funerary texts like the pyramid texts and the coffin texts. These spells were often written on papyrus scrolls and placed in tombs, sometimes even inscribed on the walls of burial chambers. Each version was unique, tailored to the individual who commissioned it, reflecting their personal hopes and fears about the afterlife. At its core, the Book of the Dead served one crucial purpose: to ensure the deceased could overcome the trials they would face in the underworld. One of the most famous sections is the weighing of the heart ceremony, where the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Mat, the goddess of truth and justice. If the heart was lighter than the feather, the soul could proceed to the afterlife, but if it was heavy with sin, it would be devoured by the monstrous Amulet, condemning the soul to eternal oblivion. The spells within the Book of the Dead were meant to protect the deceased from such a fate. Some spells provided protection against dangerous creatures lurking in the underworld, while others granted the deceased the ability to transform into powerful beings like a bird or a god to escape peril. There were even spells to ensure the deceased could remember their name and identity, a critical step in maintaining their existence in the afterlife. What makes the Book of the Dead so mysterious is the sheer variety of its contents. Some spells are poetic and profound, while others are cryptic and filled with symbolism that modern scholars are still trying to decode. The text also includes vivid illustrations known as vignettes, which depict scenes from the afterlife, offering a glimpse into how the ancient Egyptians envisioned the journey of the soul. The Book of the Dead wasn't just a religious text, it was a deeply personal artifact, a reflection of the individual's hopes for immortality. It reminds us that the ancient Egyptians didn't see death as an end, but as a transition to a new and eternal existence. As we continue our exploration, the Book of the Dead sets the stage for understanding the intricate rituals and beliefs that shaped the Egyptian afterlife. Next, we'll uncover the secrets of the canopic jars, the vessels that played a vital role in preserving the body for its journey beyond. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld. Moving forward, let's uncover the secrets of the canopic jars, one of the most intriguing artifacts tied to the Egyptian mummification process. These jars were not just ordinary containers, they played a vital role in preserving the body for its journey into the afterlife. Crafted with great care, each jar was designed to hold a specific organ removed during mummification, ensuring the deceased could be whole again in the next world. The ancient Egyptians believed that the body had to remain intact for the soul to thrive in the afterlife. To achieve this, they developed a meticulous process of mummification, which included the removal of internal organs. These organs were then carefully preserved and stored in canopic jars, each one guarded by a protective deity known as one of the four sons of Horus. The four sons of Horus, Imseti, Hapi, Duamutef, and Kebesenuf, were each associated with a specific organ and a cardinal direction. Imseti, depicted with a human head, protected the liver. Hapi, with the head of a baboon, guarded the lungs. Duamutef, bearing the head of a jackal, watched over the stomach, and Kebesenuf, with the head of a falcon, safeguarded the intestines. Together, these deities symbolized the unity and balance necessary for the deceased to navigate the afterlife successfully. The jars themselves were often made of limestone, alabaster, or pottery, and their lids were intricately designed to resemble the heads of the four sons of Horus. Over time, the craftsmanship of these jars became more elaborate, with some even featuring inscriptions and spells to further protect the organs they contained. But the canopic jars were more than just practical tools for preservation. They were deeply symbolic. The act of storing the organs separately was thought to mirror the cosmic order, reflecting the Egyptians' belief in harmony and balance. By safeguarding these vital parts of the body, the jars ensured that the deceased could be reborn and function fully in the afterlife. Interestingly, the practice of using canopic jars evolved over time. In earlier periods, the organs were placed directly into the jars, but later, they were often wrapped in linen and placed back into the body or alongside it. This shift highlights how the Egyptians adapted their rituals to align with changing beliefs and practices. The canopic jars remind us of the ancient Egyptians' profound reverence for the body and their unwavering belief in the afterlife. They were not just preserving organs, they were safeguarding the very essence of the individual, ensuring their eternal survival. As we continue our journey through the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld, the CANOPIC jars offer a fascinating glimpse into the rituals that shaped their beliefs about life, death, and rebirth. Next, we'll explore the Scarab Amulet, a symbol of transformation and renewal that held immense significance in their funerary practices. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the secrets of the ancient world. Now, let's turn our attention to the Scarab Amulet, a small but powerful artifact that held immense significance in ancient Egyptian culture. This tiny symbol, often shaped like a beetle, was far more than just a decorative piece. It represented rebirth, transformation, and the eternal cycle of life. The scarab beetle, or dung beetle, was deeply revered by the ancient Egyptians for its unique behavior. Observing how the beetle rolled balls of dung across the ground, they saw a parallel to the sun's journey across the sky. Just as the beetle pushed its ball forward, the sun god Ra was believed to roll the sun across the heavens each day, only to be reborn at dawn. This connection made the scarab a potent symbol of creation, renewal, and the endless cycle of life and death. In funerary practices, the scarab amulet played a crucial role. It was often placed over the heart of the deceased during mummification, serving as a protective charm. The Egyptians believed that the heart was the seat of the soul and the center of thought and emotion. By placing the scarab over the heart, they hoped to ensure that the deceased would pass the weighing of the heart ceremony, a pivotal moment in the afterlife where the heart was judged for its purity. Many scarab amulets were inscribed with spells or prayers from the Book of the Dead, further enhancing their protective powers. These inscriptions often included pleas to the gods to grant the deceased a favorable judgment and safe passage into the afterlife. Some scarabs were even personalized with the name of the deceased, reinforcing their connection to the individual's eternal journey. The craftsmanship of these amulets varied widely, from simple stone carvings to elaborate designs made of precious materials like gold and lapis lazuli. Regardless of their form, each scarab carried the same profound meaning, a promise of rebirth and the hope of eternal life. Interestingly, the scarab amulet wasn't just limited to funerary use. It was also worn by the living as a symbol of protection and good fortune. People believed that carrying a scarab could ward off evil, bring prosperity, and even inspire personal transformation. This dual purpose, both in life and death, highlights the scarab's enduring importance in Egyptian society. As we reflect on the scarab amulet, we're reminded of the ancient Egyptians' deep connection to the natural world and their ability to find profound meaning in the simplest of creatures. This tiny beetle, through its symbolism, became a bridge between the earthly and the divine, embodying the hope of renewal and the promise of life beyond death. Next, we'll explore the Shabti figures, small statues placed in tombs to serve the deceased in the afterlife. These fascinating artifacts offer yet another glimpse into the intricate beliefs and rituals that shaped ancient Egyptian culture. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the underworld. Moving forward, let's uncover the fascinating world of the Shabti figures, small yet significant artifacts that played a vital role in the ancient Egyptian afterlife. These miniature statues, often crafted from materials like wood, stone, or faience, were more than mere decorations. They were believed to come to life in the underworld to serve the deceased. The primary purpose of the Shabti figures was to act as servants for the deceased in the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed that the afterlife required hard labor, such as farming, building, and maintaining the fields of the gods. To spare the deceased from this toil, they placed Shabti figures in tombs, each inscribed with a spell that would magically activate them. When called upon, these figures were thought to rise and perform the necessary tasks on behalf of the deceased. The inscriptions on Shabti figures are particularly intriguing. Many of them include a version of the Shabti spell, derived from Chapter 6 of the Book of the Dead. This spell typically begins with the phrase, "O Shabti, if I am called upon to perform any task in the afterlife, say here I am." This command was believed to animate the figure, ensuring it would answer the call and carry out its duties. Some Shabti figures even held miniature tools like hoes or baskets, symbolizing their readiness to work. The number of Shabti figures placed in a tomb varied depending on the status of the deceased. Wealthy individuals might have hundreds of these figures, each representing a worker for a specific day of the year. Some tombs even included overseer Shabtis who were tasked with managing the other figures, ensuring that the work was done efficiently. This hierarchical system reflects the Egyptians' meticulous planning for the afterlife, leaving no detail overlooked. The belief in the magical activation of Shabti figures highlights the ancient Egyptians' deep faith in the power of words and rituals. They believed that the right combination of spells, prayers, and offerings could influence the divine and secure a comfortable existence in the afterlife. The Shabti figures, with their inscribed spells and lifelike details, were a tangible expression of this belief. Interestingly, the design of Shabti figures evolved over time. Early examples were simple and crudely shaped, but by the New Kingdom period, they became more detailed and lifelike, often resembling the deceased they were meant to serve. Some were even painted to mimic clothing or jewelry, further personalizing their connection to the individual. As we examine these small yet powerful artifacts, we gain insight into the ancient Egyptians' vision of the afterlife, a world where even the most mundane tasks were carefully planned and executed. The Shabti figures remind us of their ingenuity and their unwavering belief in a life beyond death, where every need could be met through preparation and faith. Next, we'll delve into the Djed pillar, a symbol of stability and resurrection, and its profound connection to the god Osiris. Join us as we continue to explore the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld and the artifacts that reveal its secrets. Now, let's turn our attention to the Djed pillar, one of the most enduring and powerful symbols in ancient Egyptian culture. This artifact, often depicted as a column with a broad base and 4 parallel lines at the top, represents stability, strength, and resurrection. Its significance is deeply intertwined with the mythology of Osiris, the god of the underworld, and it played a central role in rituals aimed at ensuring eternal life. The Djed pillar is most famously associated with Osiris, the god who was murdered by his brother Set and later resurrected by his wife Isis. According to myth, the pillar symbolizes the backbone of Osiris, representing his strength and his triumph over death. During the annual festival of the Raising of the Djed, Egyptians would perform rituals to reenact the resurrection of Osiris, lifting the pillar upright as a symbol of renewal and stability. This ceremony was not just a religious act but also a reaffirmation of the natural order, ensuring the continuity of life and the cosmos. In funerary contexts, the Djed pillar was often placed in tombs or depicted on coffins and amulets. Its presence was believed to provide the deceased with the same stability and resurrection that Osiris achieved. The pillar served as a protective symbol, safeguarding the soul as it journeyed through the underworld and ensuring its safe passage to the afterlife. For the ancient Egyptians, the Djed pillar was more than a symbol. It was a source of divine power and a promise of eternal life. The design of the Djed pillar also carries deeper meanings. Its 4 horizontal lines are thought to represent the 4 cardinal directions, symbolizing the stability of the earth and the heavens. This connection to the natural world underscores the Egyptians' belief in the interconnectedness of life, death, and the cosmos. The pillar's broad base, meanwhile, signifies a strong foundation, reflecting the idea that stability is essential for both the living and the dead. Interestingly, the Djed pillar was not just a religious symbol but also a practical one. It was often used in architectural designs such as columns in temples to convey strength and permanence. This dual role, both sacred and structural, highlights the Egyptians' ability to blend the spiritual with the everyday, creating a culture where the divine was ever present. As we explore the Djed pillar, we see how it encapsulates the ancient Egyptians' hopes for stability, renewal, and eternal life. Its connection to Osiris and its role in rituals remind us of their profound belief in the power of symbols to influence the divine and secure a place in the afterlife. Next, we'll uncover the mysteries of the Eye of Horus, a powerful symbol of protection and healing, and its significance in the journey through the underworld. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the secrets of these ancient artifacts. Now, let's shift our focus to the Eye of Horus, one of the most iconic and enigmatic symbols in ancient Egyptian culture. Known as the Wejat or Ajat, this symbol represents healing, protection, and restoration. Its origins are deeply rooted in the myth of Horus, the falcon-headed god of the sky, and his epic battle with Set, the god of chaos. According to legend, Horus lost his left eye during a fierce confrontation with Set. The eye was later restored by Thoth, the god of wisdom and magic, symbolizing the triumph of order over chaos and the restoration of wholeness. This myth gave the Eye of Horus its powerful associations with healing and regeneration. For the ancient Egyptians, it was not just a symbol of physical healing, but also of spiritual renewal and protection against evil forces. The Eye of Horus was widely used in funerary practices, often inscribed on amulets and placed within the wrappings of mummies. These amulets were believed to provide the deceased with protection in the afterlife, ensuring their safe passage through the underworld. The eye's presence was thought to ward off malevolent spirits and grant the wearer the divine favor of Horus himself. The design of the Eye of Horus is equally fascinating. It is often depicted as a stylized human eye with markings that resemble the plumage of a falcon. These markings were not merely decorative, they held mathematical significance. The ancient Egyptians used the fractions of the eye's parts to represent measurements, particularly in medicine and trade. This dual role, both symbolic and practical, highlights the Egyptians' ability to intertwine the spiritual with the everyday. In addition to its protective qualities, the Eye of Horus was also associated with the concept of divine vision. It was believed to grant the wearer the ability to see beyond the physical world, offering insight into the mysteries of the afterlife. This connection to vision and perception made it a powerful tool for priests and healers, who used it in rituals to invoke the protection and guidance of Horus. The Eye of Horus also played a significant role in the mythology of the sun god Ra. It was sometimes referred to as the Eye of Ra, symbolizing the sun's power to illuminate and protect. This duality between the Eye of Horus and the Eye of Ra reflects the Egyptians' belief in the interconnectedness of their gods and the balance between light and darkness, life and death. As we explore the Eye of Horus, we see how it embodies the ancient Egyptians' hopes for protection, healing, and divine favor. Its presence in tombs and amulets reminds us of their profound belief in the power of symbols to influence the spiritual realm and secure a place in the afterlife. Next, we'll delve into the mysteries of the sarcophagus, the outer coffin that protected the mummy and played a crucial role in safeguarding the soul's journey to the underworld. Stay with us as we continue to uncover the secrets of these ancient artifacts. Moving forward, let's uncover the secrets of the sarcophagus, the grand outer coffin that served as the ultimate protector of the mummy. This monumental artifact was far more than just a container. It was a sacred vessel designed to shield the deceased on their perilous journey through the underworld. Crafted with meticulous care, the sarcophagus was a masterpiece of ancient Egyptian artistry and engineering, blending beauty with profound spiritual purpose. The sarcophagus was typically made from stone, often limestone or granite, though wood was also used for less affluent individuals. Its construction was a testament to the Egyptians' reverence for the afterlife, as they believed the soul's survival depended on the preservation of the body. The outer surface of the sarcophagus was adorned with intricate carvings and hieroglyphic inscriptions, each element carefully chosen to serve a specific purpose. These designs often depicted scenes from the deceased's life, along with prayers, spells, and invocations meant to guide and protect the soul. One of the most striking features of the sarcophagus was its lid, which frequently bore the likeness of the deceased. This was not merely a representation, but a way to ensure the soul could recognize its body and reunite with it in the afterlife. The lid was sometimes shaped to resemble a human form, with arms crossed over the chest, symbolizing the deceased's readiness to enter the realm of the gods. The inscriptions on the sarcophagus were equally significant. They often included excerpts from the Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and prayers designed to aid the deceased in navigating the underworld. These texts were believed to have magical properties, offering protection against the dangers that awaited the soul. The hieroglyphs also served as a form of communication with the gods, ensuring the deceased's name would be remembered and their spirit honored for eternity. Beyond its spiritual role, the sarcophagus also reflected the social status of the individual it housed. For pharaohs and nobles, these coffins were lavishly decorated with gold, precious stones, and vibrant paints. The more elaborate the sarcophagus, the greater the individual's perceived importance in both life and death. Even the shape and size of the sarcophagus varied, with royal coffins often being massive and imposing, while those of commoners were simpler and more modest. The sarcophagus was not just a physical barrier, but a symbolic one as well. It was believed to act as a shield against malevolent forces, preventing evil spirits from disturbing the mummy. This protective function was crucial, as the Egyptians believed that any harm to the body would jeopardize the soul's journey to the afterlife. The sarcophagus, therefore, stood as a guardian, ensuring the deceased's safe passage to eternal life. As we examine the sarcophagus, we gain a deeper understanding of the ancient Egyptians' dedication to the afterlife. Every detail, from the carvings to the inscriptions, was imbued with meaning, reflecting their belief in the power of symbols and the importance of preserving the soul's integrity. Next, we'll explore the Ushabti statues, small yet powerful figures placed in tombs to serve the deceased in the afterlife. Join us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of these ancient artifacts and their profound significance in Egyptian culture. Now, let's turn our attention to the Ushabti statues, fascinating figures that played a vital role in the ancient Egyptian afterlife. These small yet powerful statues were more than mere decorations. They were believed to come to life in the underworld, serving the deceased in ways that ensured their comfort and survival. While similar to the Shabti figures we've discussed earlier, the Ushabti statues had their own unique characteristics and purposes that set them apart. The primary function of the Ushabti statues was to act as servants for the deceased in the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed that the afterlife required the same labor and tasks as earthly life, such as farming, building, and maintaining order. To avoid performing these tasks themselves, the deceased would rely on their Ushabti statues to take on the work. Each statue was inscribed with a spell, often derived from Chapter 6 of the Book of the Dead, which magically activated the Ushabti to answer the call of duty. The spell typically began with the phrase, "If I am called upon to do any work in the afterlife, here I am, ready to serve." What makes the Ushabti statues particularly intriguing is their variety. These figures were crafted in different materials, including faience, wood, stone, and even precious metals like bronze. The choice of material often reflected the wealth and status of the deceased. Wealthier individuals might have Ushabti statues made of fine materials, while those of more modest means would have simpler versions. The statues also varied in size, with some being as small as a few inches and others reaching up to a foot in height. The design of the Ushabti statues was equally diverse. Many were shaped to resemble the deceased, often depicted in mummified form with crossed arms and holding tools like hoes or baskets, symbolizing their readiness to work. Some statues were more elaborate, featuring intricate details such as painted clothing, wigs, and even miniature versions of jewelry. These details not only reflected the individuality of the deceased, but also emphasized their preparation for the afterlife. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Ushabti statues is their sheer number. it was common for tombs to contain dozens, if not hundreds, of these figures. This was because the Egyptians believed that each Ushabti could only perform one task at a time. To ensure that all necessary work was covered, multiple statues were included, each assigned to a specific duty. Some tombs even contained overseer Ushabti statues, which were tasked with managing the other figures and ensuring they performed their roles correctly. The significance of the Ushabti statues extended beyond their practical purpose. They were also symbols of the deceased's hope for a peaceful and prosperous afterlife. By providing these servants, the living ensured that their loved ones would not face hardship in the underworld. This act of preparation reflected the deep care and respect the ancient Egyptians had for the dead, as well as their belief in the continuity of life beyond death. As we explore these remarkable statues, we gain insight into the ancient Egyptians' meticulous planning for the afterlife. The Ushabti statues were not just tools for labor. They were expressions of faith, love, and the enduring connection between the living and the dead. Next, we'll delve into the Ba and Ka statues, which represent the soul and life force of the deceased. Join us as we continue to uncover the mysteries of these ancient artifacts and their profound role in Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. Now, let's step into the realm of the Ba and Ka statues, two of the most profound and symbolic artifacts from ancient Egypt. These statues were not just physical representations. They embodied the very essence of the soul and the life force, concepts central to the Egyptians' understanding of existence beyond death. Together, the Ba and Ka formed the spiritual core of a person, ensuring their survival and identity in the afterlife. The Ba, often depicted as a human-headed bird, symbolized the soul's ability to move freely between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. It was believed that the Ba could leave the tomb during the day to visit familiar places or loved ones, returning at night to reunite with the body. This duality reflected the Egyptians' belief in the soul's eternal connection to both the physical and spiritual worlds. The Ba was not just a passive entity, it was an active, dynamic force that maintained the deceased's presence in the world they once knew. On the other hand, the Ka represented the life force or vital essence that animated the body. Unlike the Ba, the Ka remained closely tied to the tomb and the physical remains of the deceased. It was thought to require sustenance, which is why offerings of food, drink, and incense were regularly made at tombs. The Ka was also believed to reside in statues of the deceased, which is why these statues were so meticulously crafted and placed in tombs. They served as a physical anchor for the Ka, ensuring it had a place to dwell and receive offerings. The relationship between the Ba and Ka was crucial for the deceased's journey in the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that for a person to achieve eternal life, the Ba and Ka had to reunite with the body after death. This reunion was facilitated through elaborate funerary rituals and the preservation of the body through mummification. Without this harmonious connection, the soul could not achieve immortality, and the deceased would be lost in the underworld. The statues representing the Ba and Ka were often placed in tombs alongside other funerary items. These statues were not mere decorations, they were functional and symbolic, designed to ensure the deceased's spiritual well-being. The Ka statues, in particular, were crafted to resemble the deceased as closely as possible, often featuring detailed facial features, clothing, and even inscriptions of their names. This attention to detail was meant to provide the Ka with a recognizable and welcoming home. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Ba and Ka is how they reflect the Egyptians' holistic view of life and death. They saw existence as a continuous cycle where the physical and spiritual realms were deeply intertwined. The Ba and Ka statues were not just artifacts, they were expressions of this belief, ensuring that the deceased remained whole and connected to both worlds. As we explore these remarkable statues, we gain a deeper understanding of the ancient Egyptians' intricate beliefs about the soul, the afterlife, and the enduring connection between life and death. The Ba and Ka statues remind us that for the Egyptians, death was not an end but a transition, a journey that required careful preparation and profound spiritual insight. Next, we'll uncover the secrets of the Amduat, a fascinating funerary text that maps the sun god's journey through the underworld. Join us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of these ancient artifacts and their role in guiding the souls of the departed. Now, let's turn our attention to the Amduat, one of the most enigmatic and richly symbolic funerary texts from ancient Egypt. Known as the Book of What Is in the Underworld, the Amduat offers a detailed map of the sun god Ra's nightly journey through the 12 hours of the underworld. This text was not just a guide for the deceased, but also a profound reflection of the Egyptians' beliefs about life, death, and rebirth. The Amduat is unique in its vivid depiction of the underworld, or Juat, as a place of both danger and transformation. Each hour of Ra's journey is filled with challenges, from battling serpent demons to navigating treacherous waters. Yet, these trials are not merely obstacles, they are essential steps in the cycle of renewal. By overcoming them, Ra is reborn at dawn, symbolizing the eternal cycle of death and resurrection. This journey was seen as a metaphor for the soul's own passage through the afterlife, emphasizing the importance of perseverance and divine protection. One of the most striking features of the Amduat is its intricate artwork. The text is often accompanied by elaborate illustrations that depict the gods, demons, and landscapes of the underworld. These images were not just decorative, they served as visual aids to help the deceased navigate the Juat. The Amduat was typically inscribed on the walls of royal tombs, such as those in the Valley of the Kings, ensuring that the pharaohs had access to its guidance on their journey to the afterlife. The symbolism of the Amduat extends beyond its literal content. It reflects the Egyptians' belief in the interconnectedness of all things life and death, light and darkness, chaos and order. The sun god's journey through the underworld was seen as a microcosm of the universe itself, with each hour representing a different aspect of existence. This holistic view underscores the Egyptians' understanding of the afterlife as a continuation of life rather than its end. For the pharaohs, the Amduat was more than just a funerary text, it was a source of divine power and protection. By aligning themselves with Ra's journey, they hoped to share in his triumph over death and achieve eternal life. The text's presence in their tombs was a testament to their divine status and their belief in their role as mediators between the gods and the mortal world. As we explore the Amduat, we gain a deeper appreciation for the complexity and depth of ancient Egyptian spirituality. This text is not just a guide to the underworld, it is a profound meditation on the nature of existence and the eternal cycle of renewal. Its imagery and symbolism continue to captivate us, offering a glimpse into the minds of those who sought to conquer death itself. Next, we'll delve into the weighing of the heart ceremony, a pivotal moment in the afterlife that determined the fate of the soul. Stay with us as we uncover more secrets of the Egyptian underworld and the artifacts that guided its inhabitants. Now, let's step into one of the most dramatic and defining moments of the Egyptian afterlife, the weighing of the heart ceremony. This ritual was the ultimate test of a soul's worthiness to enter the eternal realm, and it was a moment fraught with both hope and fear. Imagine standing before Osiris, the god of the underworld, surrounded by a council of deities, as your heart is placed on a scale against the feather of Mat, the symbol of truth, justice, and cosmic order. The stakes couldn't be higher. The heart, believed to be the seat of emotion, thought, and morality, was considered the most truthful witness to a person's life. If the heart balanced perfectly with the feather, it meant the deceased had lived a life in harmony with Mat's principles: honesty, fairness, and righteousness. Such a soul was declared true of voice and granted passage to the field of reeds, a paradise where they could enjoy eternal peace and abundance. But what happened if the heart was heavier than the feather? The consequences were dire. A heavy heart weighed down by sin and wrongdoing would tip the scales, revealing a life out of alignment with Mat. In this case, the soul faced a terrifying fate. The monstrous creature Amulet, part lion, part hippopotamus, and part crocodile, would devour the heart, condemning the soul to eternal oblivion. This was the ultimate punishment, a complete erasure from existence with no hope of an afterlife. The weighing of the heart ceremony wasn't just a test of morality, it was also a deeply symbolic act. The feather of Mat represented the ideal of balance and harmony, both in life and in the universe. To pass the test, one had to embody these principles, showing that they had lived with integrity and respect for the natural order. This belief underscores the Egyptians' profound connection between ethical living and spiritual salvation. To prepare for this moment, the deceased often carried spells from the Book of the Dead, specifically designed to ensure their heart would not betray them. One of the most famous spells, known as the negative confession, involved the deceased declaring their innocence of 42 specific sins before the gods. These declarations were meant to purify the heart and align it with Mat's feather, increasing the chances of a favorable judgment. The weighing of the heart ceremony reveals much about the ancient Egyptians' worldview. It highlights their belief in accountability, the importance of moral integrity, and the idea that one's actions in life had eternal consequences. This ritual wasn't just about the afterlife, it was a reminder to live a life of virtue and balance, knowing that every choice would one day be weighed against the feather of truth. As we move forward, we'll explore another fascinating artifact, the false door, a symbolic portal that bridged the worlds of the living and the dead. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld and the artifacts that shaped its beliefs. Now, let's step into the realm of the false door, a fascinating and enigmatic artifact that served as a bridge between the worlds of the living and the dead. This architectural feature, often found in tombs, was more than just a decorative element. It was a spiritual gateway, a place where the living could connect with their departed loved ones. The false door was designed to resemble a real door, complete with intricate carvings and inscriptions, but it was never meant to be opened. Instead, it symbolized the boundary between the physical world and the afterlife, a threshold that only the soul of the deceased could cross. For the ancient Egyptians, this door was a vital link, allowing the living to communicate with the dead and provide them with the offerings they needed for their journey in the underworld. Offerings played a crucial role in this connection. Families would bring food, drink, and other essentials to the tomb, placing them near the false door. These offerings were believed to sustain the deceased in the afterlife, ensuring they had everything they needed to thrive in the eternal realm. The inscriptions on the false door often included prayers and spells, invoking the gods to protect and guide the soul of the departed. But the false door wasn't just a one-way passage. It was also a place where the deceased could return to the world of the living, at least in spirit. The Egyptians believed that the soul, or the Ka, could pass through the false door to receive the offerings and blessings left by their family. This interaction between the living and the dead was a cornerstone of Egyptian funerary practices, emphasizing the enduring bond between generations. The design of the false door varied, but it often featured depictions of the deceased, sometimes shown seated at a table laden with offerings. These images reinforced the idea that the dead were still present, still part of the family, and still deserving of care and respect. The door's carvings also included hieroglyphs that told the story of the deceased's life, their achievements, and their hopes for the afterlife. The false door reminds us of the Egyptians' deep belief in the continuity of life and death. It wasn't just a physical structure, it was a spiritual tool, a way to maintain a connection with those who had passed on. This artifact highlights the importance of memory, ritual, and the enduring relationships that transcend the boundaries of life and death. As we continue our journey, we'll explore another remarkable artifact, the pyramid texts, the oldest religious writings in Egypt. These ancient spells and prayers offer a glimpse into the beliefs and practices that shaped the Egyptian understanding of the afterlife. Stay with us as we uncover more secrets of the underworld. Moving deeper into the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld, we now turn our attention to the pyramid texts, the oldest known religious writings in human history. These ancient inscriptions, carved into the walls of pyramids, offer a fascinating glimpse into the beliefs and rituals that guided the pharaohs on their journey to the afterlife. The pyramid texts date back to the Old Kingdom, around 2400 to 2300 BCE, and were first discovered in the Pyramid of King Unas at Saqqara. Unlike other funerary texts, these writings were reserved exclusively for the pharaohs, emphasizing their divine status and their unique connection to the gods. The texts consist of a collection of spells, prayers, and incantations, each designed to protect and guide the deceased ruler through the dangers of the underworld. The purpose of the pyramid texts was twofold. First, they served as a guidebook for the pharaoh's soul, providing instructions on how to navigate the treacherous paths of the Duat, the Egyptian underworld. These spells were meant to ward off evil spirits, overcome obstacles, and ensure the pharaoh's safe passage to the afterlife. Second, the texts were a means of ensuring the pharaoh's transformation into a divine being. By reciting these sacred words, the pharaoh was believed to ascend to the heavens, joining the gods and achieving eternal life. The content of the pyramid texts is rich with symbolism and mythology. Many of the spells reference the sun god Ra and his nightly journey through the underworld, drawing parallels between the pharaoh's journey and the cycle of the sun. Other spells invoke Osiris, the god of the afterlife, who is seen as the ultimate judge of the dead. The texts also include descriptions of the pharaoh's resurrection, often likening it to the rebirth of the sun at dawn or the sprouting of new life from the earth. One of the most intriguing aspects of the pyramid texts is their role in the pharaoh's afterlife. These writings were not just passive inscriptions, they were believed to have magical power. By being carved into the walls of the pyramid, the spells were thought to be activated, ensuring their effectiveness in protecting and guiding the pharaoh. The texts also served as a form of communication between the living and the dead, allowing the pharaoh's family and priests to continue supporting their ruler in the afterlife through rituals and offerings. The pyramid texts mark a significant evolution in Egyptian funerary practices. They represent the earliest attempt to codify the beliefs about the afterlife, laying the foundation for later texts like the coffin texts and the Book of the Dead. While these later writings were accessible to a broader audience, the pyramid texts remained a privilege of the pharaohs, underscoring their divine authority and their unique role in maintaining cosmic order. As we reflect on the pyramid texts, we're reminded of the Egyptians' profound belief in the power of words and rituals. These ancient writings were more than just instructions. They were a testament to the enduring hope for life beyond death, a hope that continues to captivate us today. Next, we'll uncover the secrets of the coffin texts, a collection of spells that brought the promise of the afterlife to a wider audience. Stay with us as we continue our journey through the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld. Now, let's step into the next chapter of Egypt's funerary traditions with the coffin texts, a fascinating evolution from the pyramid texts that brought the promise of the afterlife to a much wider audience. Unlike the pyramid texts, which were reserved exclusively for pharaohs, the coffin texts marked a significant shift, offering ordinary Egyptians a chance to secure their place in the underworld. Emerging during the Middle Kingdom, around 2100 to 1800 BCE, the coffin texts were inscribed directly onto the wooden coffins of non-royal individuals. This change reflected a democratization of the afterlife, as the spells and rituals once reserved for kings became accessible to nobles, officials, and even some commoners. The texts were a collection of over 1,000 spells, prayers, and incantations, many of which were adapted from the earlier pyramid texts but reimagined for a broader audience. The purpose of the coffin texts was similar to that of their predecessors, to guide and protect the deceased on their journey through the underworld. These spells were designed to help the soul navigate the dangers of the Duat, overcome obstacles, and ultimately reach the realm of Osiris, where they could achieve eternal life. However, the coffin texts also introduced new themes and ideas, reflecting the changing beliefs and concerns of the time. For example, many spells emphasized the deceased's moral worthiness, suggesting that the afterlife was not just a privilege of the elite but a reward for those who lived virtuous lives. One of the most striking features of the coffin texts is their vivid imagery and symbolism. The spells often describe the deceased transforming into divine beings, such as birds or stars, to escape the perils of the underworld. Other spells invoke the power of the gods, particularly Osiris and Ra, to ensure the soul's safe passage. The texts also include detailed descriptions of the afterlife, painting a picture of a paradise filled with abundant food, drink, and eternal peace. The coffin texts were not just passive inscriptions, they were believed to hold magical power. By being written on the coffin, the spells were thought to be activated, ensuring their effectiveness in protecting and guiding the deceased. This belief in the power of the written word was central to Egyptian funerary practices, and the coffin texts were a testament to the enduring importance of rituals and spells in securing a happy afterlife. As we explore the coffin texts, we see how they built upon the foundation laid by the pyramid texts while adapting to the needs of a changing society. They represent a pivotal moment in Egyptian history when the afterlife became a possibility for more than just the pharaohs. This shift not only reflects the evolving beliefs of the time, but also highlights the Egyptians' deep commitment to ensuring a safe and prosperous journey for all who passed into the next world. Next, we'll delve into the artifacts associated with Osiris, the god of the underworld, and uncover how his mythology shaped the rituals and beliefs surrounding death and resurrection. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld. Now, let's turn our attention to the artifacts tied to one of the most revered figures in Egyptian mythology, Osiris, the god of the underworld. Known as the Lord of the Dead and the Judge of Souls, Osiris played a central role in the beliefs surrounding death, resurrection, and the afterlife. His story is one of tragedy, triumph, and transformation, and the relics associated with him offer a glimpse into how the ancient Egyptians viewed the journey beyond life. Osiris was not only a symbol of resurrection but also a figure of justice and renewal. According to myth, he was murdered by his brother Set, who dismembered his body and scattered the pieces across Egypt. Through the efforts of his wife Isis and her sister Nephthys, Osiris was resurrected, becoming the ruler of the underworld and the judge of the dead. This tale of death and rebirth made Osiris a powerful symbol of hope and eternal life, and his influence is evident in many of the artifacts found in tombs and temples. One of the most iconic symbols associated with Osiris is the Djed pillar, which we've touched on earlier. Representing stability and endurance, the Djed pillar was often used in rituals to invoke Osiris's power of resurrection. It was believed that by raising the Djed pillar, one could symbolically restore Osiris to life, ensuring the deceased's own rebirth in the afterlife. This connection between Osiris and the Djed pillar highlights the god's role as a source of strength and renewal for those who passed into his realm. Another significant artifact linked to Osiris is the crook and flail, symbols of kingship and divine authority. These items were often depicted in the hands of Osiris, emphasizing his role as a just and benevolent ruler of the underworld. The crook symbolized guidance and protection, while the flail represented the power to maintain order and justice. Together, they reinforced Osiris's dual role as a judge and a protector, ensuring that the souls of the dead were treated fairly and with compassion. Osiris's mythology also deeply influenced the weighing of the heart ceremony, a pivotal moment in the afterlife journey. In this ritual, the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Mat, the goddess of truth and justice. Osiris presided over this judgment, determining whether the soul was worthy of entering the afterlife. those who passed the test were granted eternal life in the field of reeds, a paradise overseen by Osiris himself. This belief in divine judgment underscored the importance of living a virtuous life, as the fate of one's soul rested in the hands of Osiris. The artifacts associated with Osiris, from the jed pillar to the crook and flail, reveal the profound impact of his mythology on Egyptian funerary practices. They reflect the ancient Egyptians' belief in the power of resurrection, the importance of justice, and the hope for eternal life. As we continue to explore the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld, we'll see how these relics not only honored Osiris but also provided comfort and assurance to those preparing for their own journey into the afterlife. Next, we'll uncover the protective power of serpent amulets and their role in safeguarding the deceased from the dangers of the underworld. Stay with us as we delve deeper into the fascinating world of ancient Egyptian artifacts. Now, let's shift our focus to a fascinating artifact that served as a guardian against the unseen dangers of the underworld, the serpent amulets. In ancient Egyptian belief, the underworld was not just a realm of judgment and rebirth, but also a place filled with potential threats. To navigate these perils, the deceased relied on powerful symbols of protection, and among the most potent were the serpent amulets. Serpents held a dual meaning in Egyptian mythology. On one hand, they were seen as dangerous creatures often associated with chaos and destruction. On the other hand, they symbolized protection and renewal, embodying the ability to ward off evil forces. This duality made serpent amulets particularly significant in funerary practices. Crafted from materials like faience, gold, or semi-precious stones, these amulets were placed on the mummy or within the burial chamber to shield the deceased from malevolent spirits and harmful entities lurking in the underworld. The symbolism of the serpent amulet was deeply tied to its protective qualities. The serpent's ability to shed its skin was seen as a metaphor for rebirth and transformation, aligning with the Egyptian belief in the cyclical nature of life and death. By wearing or carrying a serpent amulet, the deceased was believed to gain the serpent's power to overcome obstacles and emerge victorious in the afterlife. This connection to renewal made the serpent amulet not just a shield but also a symbol of hope and resilience. In addition to their protective role, serpent amulets were often inscribed with spells or prayers, further enhancing their power. These inscriptions invoked the protection of deities like Wadjet, the cobra goddess, who was a fierce guardian of the pharaoh and the land of Egypt. Wadjet's association with the serpent amulet reinforced its role as a defender of the dead, ensuring safe passage through the treacherous paths of the underworld. The placement of serpent amulets in tombs also reflected their importance. They were often positioned near the head or chest of the mummy, areas believed to be vulnerable to spiritual attacks. Some amulets were even shaped like coiled serpents, symbolizing their readiness to strike against any threat. This careful placement and design highlight the ancient Egyptians' meticulous attention to detail in preparing for the afterlife. As we explore these serpent amulets, we gain a deeper understanding of how the ancient Egyptians sought to protect and empower their loved ones in the journey beyond life. These small yet powerful artifacts remind us of the enduring human desire to overcome fear and find security, even in the face of the unknown. Next, we'll step into the realm of the sun god Ra and uncover the mysteries of the solar bark, the vessel that carried him through the underworld. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the secrets of the Egyptian afterlife. Now, let's set sail into the celestial realm of the sun god Ra and uncover the mysteries of the solar bark, a vessel that carried him through the perilous waters of the underworld. In ancient Egyptian mythology, the journey of the sun was not just a daily cycle but a profound metaphor for life, death, and rebirth. The solar bark, or the sunboat, was central to this cosmic voyage, symbolizing the eternal struggle between light and darkness, order and chaos. The solar bark was believed to be the divine boat that transported Ra across the sky during the day and through the underworld at night. This nightly journey was fraught with danger, as Ra had to navigate the treacherous Duat, the realm of the dead, where he faced challenges from chaotic forces seeking to extinguish the sun's light. The Egyptians saw this journey as a reflection of their own hopes for resurrection and eternal life, making the solar bark a powerful symbol of renewal and triumph over adversity. In tombs, the solar bark was often depicted in intricate wall paintings and carvings, illustrating Ra's voyage through the 12 hours of the night. These scenes were not merely decorative but served a sacred purpose. They were meant to guide and protect the deceased, ensuring they could join Ra on his journey and emerge reborn in the morning. The imagery of the solar bark was a visual prayer, a plea for the soul to overcome the trials of the underworld and achieve immortality. The design of the solar bark itself was rich with symbolism. It was often shown as a sleek, elegant vessel, sometimes accompanied by other deities who aided Ra in his journey. Figures like Thoth, the god of wisdom, and Maat, the goddess of truth, were depicted as crew members, emphasizing the importance of knowledge and balance in overcoming chaos. The boat's prow and stern were sometimes adorned with protective symbols, such as the eye of Horus or the serpent, reinforcing its role as a shield against evil forces. One of the most fascinating aspects of the solar bark is its dual nature. During the day, it was known as the Manjet, the boat of the morning sun, while at night it transformed into the Mesektet, the boat of the evening sun. This duality mirrored the Egyptian belief in the cyclical nature of existence, where death was not an end but a transition to a new beginning. The solar bark, therefore, was not just a means of transportation but a profound emblem of the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The presence of the solar bark in tombs also highlights the ancient Egyptians' deep connection to the cosmos. By aligning themselves with Ra's journey, they sought to ensure their own safe passage through the underworld and their eventual resurrection. The solar bark was a reminder that, just as the sun rises each morning, the soul too could triumph over darkness and emerge into the light of eternity. As we reflect on the solar bark, we see how it encapsulates the ancient Egyptians' hopes, fears, and beliefs about the afterlife. It was more than a mythological vessel. It was a symbol of resilience, renewal, and the enduring power of light over darkness. Next, we'll turn our attention to the stunning funerary masks, such as the iconic mask of Tutankhamun, and explore how these artifacts preserved the identity of the deceased in the afterlife. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the secrets of the Egyptian underworld. Now, let's step into the realm of the eternal and uncover the secrets of the funerary masks, one of the most iconic and visually striking artifacts from ancient Egypt. These masks, like the world-renowned mask of Tutankhamun, were far more than decorative pieces. They were sacred objects crafted with precision and imbued with deep spiritual significance, designed to ensure the deceased's identity and protection in the afterlife. The funerary mask served as a powerful tool to preserve the deceased's likeness, ensuring their soul could recognize its body and reunite with it in the afterlife. Ancient Egyptians believed that the soul, or Ka, needed a physical form to inhabit, and the mask acted as a substitute in case the body was damaged or decayed. The mask's lifelike features were meticulously crafted to mirror the individual's appearance, creating a bridge between the earthly and the divine. The craftsmanship of these masks was nothing short of extraordinary. Made from materials like gold, silver, and precious stones, they were symbols of wealth and status. Gold, in particular, was favored for its association with the gods and its incorruptible nature, representing eternal life. The Mask of Tutankhamun, for example, is a masterpiece of ancient artistry with its gleaming gold surface, inlaid lapis lazuli, and intricate detailing that captures the young pharaoh's serene expression. Beyond their beauty, these masks were also deeply symbolic. The use of gold connected the deceased to the sun god Ra, whose radiant light was believed to grant immortality. The masks often featured protective symbols such as the cobra and vulture, representing the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, and the Eye of Horus, a powerful emblem of healing and protection. These elements were not merely decorative but served as spiritual armor, safeguarding the deceased on their journey through the underworld. The masks also played a crucial role in funerary rituals. During the burial ceremony, priests would perform rituals to activate the mask's protective powers, ensuring it could fulfill its purpose in the afterlife. The mask was placed over the mummy's face, often accompanied by spells and prayers to invoke the god's favor. This ritualistic use highlights the mask's dual role as both a physical and spiritual artifact, bridging the gap between the mortal world and the divine. One of the most fascinating aspects of these masks is how they reflect the individuality of the deceased. While some masks were idealized representations, others captured unique facial features, offering a glimpse into the person's identity. The mask of Tutankhamun, for instance, not only immortalizes his youthful visage but also conveys a sense of regal dignity, reminding us of his status as a divine ruler. The funerary masks also reveal the ancient Egyptians' profound understanding of art and symbolism. Every detail, from the materials used to the symbols incorporated, was carefully chosen to convey specific meanings and ensure the deceased's safe passage to the afterlife. These masks were not just objects of beauty but powerful tools of transformation, guiding the soul through the trials of the underworld and into eternal life. As we marvel at these ancient masterpieces, we are reminded of the enduring human desire to preserve identity and achieve immortality. The funerary masks stand as timeless testaments to the artistry, spirituality, and ingenuity of ancient Egypt, offering us a window into their beliefs about life, death, and the afterlife. Next, we'll explore the offering tables, essential artifacts that provided sustenance for the deceased in the afterlife. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld. Now, let's turn our attention to the offering tables, a vital yet often overlooked artifact in the journey to the afterlife. These tables were far more than simple pieces of furniture. They were sacred platforms designed to ensure the deceased's eternal sustenance and comfort. In ancient Egyptian belief, the afterlife was not a place of mere existence but a continuation of life, where the deceased required food, drink, and offerings to thrive. The offering tables served as the bridge between the living and the dead, ensuring that the deceased would never go hungry or thirsty in their eternal journey. Crafted from stone, wood, or even precious metals, these tables were often inscribed with prayers, spells, and lists of offerings. The inscriptions were not just decorative but served a practical purpose, invoking the gods to bless the offerings and ensure their spiritual transformation. Common offerings included bread, beer, meat, and fruits, all of which were believed to sustain the deceased in the afterlife. The tables were placed in tombs, often near the burial chamber, so the deceased could easily access the offerings. The design of these tables varied, but they often featured a flat surface with a raised edge to hold the offerings securely. Some tables were intricately carved with depictions of the deceased receiving offerings from family members or priests, symbolizing the ongoing connection between the living and the dead. These carvings were not just artistic expressions but powerful reminders of the deceased's continued presence in the lives of their loved ones. One of the most fascinating aspects of the offering tables is their role in funerary rituals. During burial ceremonies, priests would perform rituals to consecrate the offerings, ensuring they were spiritually effective. These rituals often involved reciting spells from the Book of the Dead, which transformed the physical offerings into spiritual sustenance. The tables were also used during annual festivals where families would bring fresh offerings to honor their ancestors, reinforcing the bond between generations. The inscriptions on these tables often included the names of the deceased and their titles, ensuring they were remembered and honored. Some inscriptions even listed the types of offerings the deceased preferred, providing a personal touch that reflected their tastes and status in life. For example, a nobleman's offering table might specify fine wines and choice cuts of meat, while a farmer's table might list grains and vegetables. The offering tables also reveal the ancient Egyptians' deep belief in reciprocity. Just as the living provided for the dead, the deceased were believed to offer protection and blessings in return. This mutual exchange created a cycle of care and respect that extended beyond death, highlighting the interconnectedness of life and the afterlife. As we examine these ancient artifacts, we gain insight into the daily lives and spiritual practices of the ancient Egyptians. The offering tables remind us of their profound respect for the dead and their unwavering belief in the continuity of life. These tables were not just tools for sustenance, but symbols of love, remembrance, and eternal connection. Next, we'll uncover the mysteries of the hypocephalus, a fascinating artifact placed under the head of the deceased to protect and guide them in the afterlife. Stay with us as we continue to explore the enigmatic world of the Egyptian underworld. Now, let's shift our focus to the hypocephalus, a mysterious and intriguing artifact that played a crucial role in the journey to the afterlife. This circular disc, often made of linen, papyrus, or even metal, was carefully placed under the head of the deceased. Its purpose was far from ordinary. It was believed to be a powerful protective amulet, shielding the deceased from harm and guiding them through the dangers of the underworld. The hypocephalus, sometimes referred to as the disk of the sun, was deeply connected to the sun god Ra. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Ra's journey through the underworld each night was a perilous one, filled with challenges and threats from chaotic forces. The hypocephalus symbolized the sun's eternal cycle of death and rebirth, mirroring Ra's nightly voyage and his triumphant return at dawn. By placing this disk under the head, the deceased was thought to be aligned with Ra's divine power, ensuring their safe passage and eventual resurrection. The design of the hypocephalus was rich with symbolism. It often featured intricate illustrations and hieroglyphs depicting scenes and deities associated with the afterlife. One common motif was the depiction of the four sons of Horus, who were believed to protect the internal organs of the deceased. Other images included the god Osiris, the judge of the dead, and various protective deities who guarded the soul on its journey. These illustrations were not just decorative but served as a spiritual map, guiding the deceased through the complex landscape of the underworld. The inscriptions on the hypocephalus were equally significant. They often included spells and prayers from the Book of the Dead, invoking the gods to grant the deceased protection and favor. One particularly important spell was the spell of the hypocephalus, which called upon Ra to illuminate the darkness of the underworld and ensure the deceased's safe passage. This spell emphasized the disk's role as a source of light and life, much like the sun itself. The placement of the hypocephalus under the head was also symbolic. In ancient Egyptian belief, the head was considered the seat of thought and identity, making it a vital part of the body in both life and death. By positioning the disk here, the deceased was believed to retain their consciousness and memory in the afterlife, ensuring they could navigate the challenges ahead with clarity and purpose. Interestingly, the hypocephalus was not just a tool for the dead, but also a reflection of the living's hopes and fears. Its creation required great skill and care, often involving priests and artisans who meticulously crafted each detail. The process of making a hypocephalus was itself a sacred act, imbuing the disk with spiritual power. Families would commission these discs for their loved ones, hoping to secure their safe passage and eternal happiness. As we explore the hypocephalus, we uncover yet another layer of the ancient Egyptians' profound beliefs about life, death, and the afterlife. This artifact reminds us of their unwavering faith in the power of the divine and their meticulous efforts to ensure the well-being of their loved ones beyond death. Next, we'll delve into the lotus scepter, a symbol of rebirth and creation that held deep significance in the rituals of the Egyptian underworld. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of these ancient artifacts. Now, let's turn our attention to the lotus scepter, a fascinating artifact that embodies the themes of rebirth and creation in ancient Egyptian culture. This elegant symbol, often depicted in the hands of gods and pharaohs, held deep spiritual significance and played a vital role in rituals connected to the afterlife. The lotus scepter was more than just a ceremonial object. It was a powerful emblem of renewal and transformation. The lotus flower itself was revered in ancient Egypt for its unique life cycle. Each day, the flower would emerge from the murky waters, blooming in the sunlight, only to retreat back beneath the surface at night. This daily cycle mirrored the journey of the sun god Ra, who traveled through the underworld each night and was reborn at dawn. The lotus scepter, therefore, became a symbol of this eternal cycle of death and rebirth, representing the hope for resurrection and new beginnings. In rituals, the lotus scepter was often used by priests and royalty to invoke divine favor and protection. It was believed to carry the power of creation, linking the earthly realm with the divine. During funerary ceremonies, the scepter was used to bless the deceased, ensuring their safe passage into the afterlife and their eventual rebirth. The act of holding the lotus scepter was seen as a way to channel the energy of the gods, bridging the gap between the living and the dead. The connection between the lotus scepter and the underworld is particularly intriguing. In Egyptian mythology, the underworld was not just a place of darkness but also a realm of potential and transformation. The lotus scepter symbolized the idea that death was not an end but a transition, a necessary step toward renewal. By carrying this symbol, the deceased was believed to be guided through the challenges of the underworld, emerging victorious and reborn in the afterlife. The design of the lotus scepter was rich with meaning. Typically, it featured a long staff topped with a blooming lotus flower, sometimes accompanied by additional symbols of power, such as the ankh or the jed pillar. These elements reinforced the scepter's role as a tool of divine authority and protection. The lotus flower's petals were often depicted in intricate detail, emphasizing its beauty and its connection to the natural world. Interestingly, the lotus scepter was not limited to funerary contexts. It also appeared in scenes of creation, where gods were shown using the scepter to bring order out of chaos. This dual role, as a symbol of both creation and rebirth, highlights the interconnectedness of life, death, and renewal in ancient Egyptian thought. The lotus scepter reminds us that the journey through the underworld was not just about survival but about transformation and the promise of new life. As we explore the lotus scepter, we gain a deeper understanding of how the ancient Egyptians viewed the cycles of existence. This artifact serves as a powerful reminder of their belief in the continuity of life and the enduring power of the divine. Next, we'll examine the statues of Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification, and his crucial role in guiding souls through the underworld. Stay with us as we continue to uncover the secrets of these ancient artifacts. Now, shifting our focus to the enigmatic figure of Anubis, we encounter one of the most iconic and revered deities of ancient Egypt. The statues of Anubis, with their striking jackal-headed design, stand as powerful symbols of protection and guidance in the journey to the afterlife. Known as the god of mummification, Anubis played a pivotal role in ensuring the safe passage of souls through the treacherous realms of the underworld. Anubis was often depicted as a man with the head of a jackal, an animal associated with cemeteries and the protection of the dead. This unique imagery was deeply symbolic. The jackal, a creature that roamed the edges of the desert where tombs were often built, came to represent the guardian of the deceased. By embodying this animal, Anubis became the ultimate protector, watching over the dead and guiding them through the afterlife. One of Anubis's most important duties was overseeing the mummification process. This sacred ritual was essential for preserving the body, which the ancient Egyptians believed was necessary for the soul's survival in the afterlife. Statues of Anubis were frequently placed in tombs to invoke his presence and ensure his protection. These statues often depicted him standing tall, holding the ankh, the symbol of life, or the scepter, representing power and dominion. His watchful gaze was believed to ward off evil spirits and safeguard the deceased on their journey, but Anubis's role extended beyond mere protection. He was also the guide who led souls through the underworld, helping them navigate its many challenges. In the Hall of Maat, where the deceased faced the weighing of the heart ceremony, Anubis was often shown overseeing the scales. His presence was a reassurance that the process would be fair and just, ensuring that only the worthy could enter the eternal paradise of the field of reeds. The statues of Anubis were not just decorative, they were functional tools in the spiritual practices of ancient Egypt. Priests would perform rituals before these statues, calling upon Anubis to bless the deceased and grant them safe passage. The statues themselves were often made of precious materials like black granite or wood, symbolizing the god's connection to the fertile soil of the Nile and the cycle of life and death. Interestingly, Anubis's influence extended beyond the tombs. He was also associated with the concept of judgment and moral integrity. The ancient Egyptians believed that Anubis could see into the hearts of the dead, ensuring that they had lived virtuous lives. This dual role, as both protector and judge, made Anubis a figure of immense respect and reverence. As we examine these statues, we gain a deeper appreciation for the ancient Egyptians' intricate beliefs about death and the afterlife. Anubis was not just a god of the dead, he was a symbol of hope, ensuring that the journey to the afterlife was one of transformation and renewal. Next, we'll explore the Duat map, a fascinating representation of the underworld that guided the deceased through its many realms. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of these ancient artifacts. Now, let's turn our attention to the Duat map, a remarkable artifact that offers a glimpse into the ancient Egyptian understanding of the afterlife. This intricate representation of the underworld was more than just a map. It was a spiritual guide designed to help the deceased navigate the perilous journey through the Duat, the realm of the dead. The Duat map is a vivid depiction of the underworld, filled with symbolic imagery and detailed pathways. It was often inscribed on tomb walls or included in funerary texts, serving as a visual aid for the soul's journey. The map was divided into 12 regions, each corresponding to the 12 hours of the night. These regions were populated by gods, demons, and other supernatural beings, each playing a role in the soul's passage. One of the most striking features of the Duat map is its emphasis on the sun god Ra's nightly journey. According to Egyptian mythology, Ra traveled through the underworld each night, battling chaos and darkness to be reborn at dawn. The map illustrates this journey, showing Ra's boat as it moves through the various regions, overcoming obstacles and receiving assistance from other deities. For the deceased, this journey mirrored their own path through the Duat, with the map serving as a guide to help them avoid dangers and reach the afterlife safely. The symbolism of the Duat map is deeply rooted in the ancient Egyptian belief in order and balance. The underworld was seen as a place of transformation, where the soul underwent trials and purification before being granted eternal life. The map's detailed imagery, including rivers, gates, and protective deities, reflects this belief in a structured and orderly afterlife. Each element of the map had a specific purpose, whether it was to protect the soul, provide sustenance, or guide it through the challenges of the Duat. In tombs, the Duat map was often placed near the burial chamber or inscribed on the walls, ensuring that the deceased had access to its guidance. Priests and family members would also use the map during funerary rituals, invoking the gods and spirits depicted on it to aid the soul's journey. The map was not just a tool for the dead, it was a way for the living to connect with the divine and ensure their loved one's safe passage. The connection between the Duat map and the journey of the soul is profound. It reflects the ancient Egyptians' belief in the importance of preparation and guidance in the afterlife. The map was a tangible expression of their hope for renewal and eternal life, offering a clear path through the uncertainties of the underworld. As we explore the Amduat map, we gain a deeper understanding of how the ancient Egyptians viewed death not as an end, but as a transformative journey. This artifact reminds us of their intricate beliefs and the lengths they went to ensure a safe passage for the soul. Next, we'll uncover the significance of the heart scarabs, small but powerful artifacts that played a crucial role in the weighing of the heart ceremony. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld. Now, let's shift our focus to the heart scarabs, small yet profoundly significant artifacts that held a vital role in the ancient Egyptian journey to the afterlife. These intricately crafted amulets, often made of green stone or faience, were placed over the heart of the deceased during mummification. Their purpose was deeply tied to one of the most critical moments in the afterlife, the weighing of the heart ceremony. The heart scarabs were inscribed with spells from the Book of the Dead, specifically Chapter 30, which was meant to prevent the heart from testifying against the deceased during the judgment before Osiris. The ancient Egyptians believed that the heart, rather than the brain, was the seat of thought, emotion, and morality. It was thought to carry the record of a person's deeds, both good and bad. If the heart revealed wrongdoing, the soul would face dire consequences. The inscriptions on the heart scarabs often included a plea to the heart, urging it not to betray its owner. One common inscription read, "Do not stand up against me as a witness, do not oppose me in the tribunal, do not be hostile to me in the presence of the keeper of the balance." This powerful invocation was meant to ensure the heart remained silent or spoke favorably during the judgment. The weighing of the heart ceremony was a pivotal moment in the afterlife. The heart of the deceased was placed on a scale, balanced against the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and justice. If the heart was lighter than the feather, it meant the deceased had lived a life of virtue and balance, and they were granted eternal life. If the heart was heavier, it indicated a life of wrongdoing, and the soul would be devoured by the monstrous Amulet, resulting in a second permanent death. The heart scarabs were not just protective amulets, they were also symbols of transformation and rebirth. Their green color symbolized renewal and the fertile lands of the Nile, reflecting the hope for resurrection and eternal life. By placing the scarab over the heart, the ancient Egyptians believed they were ensuring the deceased's successful passage through the afterlife. These scarabs were often placed directly on the mummy's chest or wrapped within the linen bandages, ensuring they remained close to the heart. Some were even shaped like the scarab beetle, a creature associated with the sun god Ra and the concept of rebirth. The scarab beetle's habit of rolling dung into balls, which it then buried and from which new life emerged, made it a powerful symbol of regeneration. The heart scarabs remind us of the ancient Egyptians' deep concern with morality, judgment, and the afterlife. They reveal a culture that placed immense importance on living a balanced and virtuous life with the hope of achieving eternal peace. As we move forward, we'll explore the crook and flail, symbols of kingship and divine authority, and their connection to the underworld. Stay with us as we continue to uncover the mysteries of the Egyptian afterlife. Now, let's turn our attention to the crook and flail, two of the most iconic symbols of ancient Egyptian royalty and divine power. These artifacts, often depicted in the hands of pharaohs and gods, were not just tools of authority, but also deeply tied to the mythology of the underworld and the god Osiris. The crook, resembling a shepherd's staff, symbolized the pharaoh's role as a guide and protector of his people, much like a shepherd tending to his flock. It represented care, leadership, and the responsibility to nurture and safeguard the kingdom. The flail, on the other hand, was a tool used for threshing grain, symbolizing the pharaoh's ability to provide sustenance and ensure the prosperity of the land. Together, these objects embodied the dual aspects of kingship, benevolence and strength, but the crook and flail were more than just symbols of earthly power. They were also closely associated with Osiris, the god of the underworld, resurrection, and fertility. Osiris was often depicted holding these objects, signifying his role as a divine ruler and judge of the dead. In Egyptian mythology, Osiris was the first king of Egypt, and his story of death and rebirth became a central theme in the beliefs surrounding the afterlife. The crook and flail were frequently placed in royal tombs, serving as powerful symbols of the pharaoh's divine right to rule and their connection to Osiris. These artifacts were believed to help the deceased pharaoh navigate the afterlife, ensuring their safe passage and eventual resurrection. By carrying the crook and flail, the pharaoh was seen as embodying the qualities of Osiris, both as a just ruler and as a figure of eternal renewal. The presence of these symbols in tombs also reinforced the idea that the pharaoh's authority extended beyond death. They were not just mortal rulers, but divine beings who would continue to guide and protect their people even in the afterlife. This belief was central to the concept of Maat, the cosmic order and balance that the pharaoh was tasked with maintaining. Interestingly, the crook and flail were not just limited to pharaohs. They were also associated with other deities such as Anubis and Horus, further emphasizing their importance in Egyptian religion and mythology. Their widespread use in art and funerary practices highlights their enduring significance as symbols of power, protection, and divine connection. As we continue our journey through the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld, we'll next explore the funerary boats, vessels that played a crucial role in transporting the deceased to the afterlife. Stay with us as we uncover more fascinating artifacts and their profound meanings. Now, let's set sail into the next chapter of our journey with the funerary boats, one of the most fascinating and symbolic artifacts from ancient Egypt. These boats were not just practical vessels, but sacred tools designed to carry the deceased on their final voyage to the afterlife. Imagine the Nile River, the lifeblood of Egypt, and how it mirrored the Egyptians' belief in a journey beyond death. Just as the Nile connected the living world, the funerary boats were believed to connect the earthly realm with the divine. The construction of these boats was both intricate and meaningful. Crafted from wood, often cedar imported from Lebanon, they were built to resemble the solar bark, the mythical boat used by the sun god Ra to travel through the sky and the underworld. Some funerary boats were small and symbolic, while others were large enough to carry the deceased's body and their belongings. These boats were often adorned with intricate carvings and paintings depicting scenes of gods, protective symbols, and hieroglyphs meant to guide and protect the soul on its journey. Symbolically, the funerary boats represented the transition from life to death and the hope of rebirth. The Egyptians believed that the deceased would need to navigate the treacherous waters of the underworld, facing challenges and trials before reaching the afterlife. The boat served as a vessel of protection, ensuring the soul could safely cross these perilous waters. It was also a reminder of the cyclical nature of life and death, much like the daily journey of the sun across the sky. In burial rituals, funerary boats played a central role. They were often placed in tombs or buried near them, sometimes even in full-sized models or as miniature replicas. These boats were sometimes accompanied by oarsmen figurines, representing the crew that would help the deceased navigate the underworld. In some cases, actual boats were buried with pharaohs, emphasizing their importance in ensuring a successful journey to the afterlife. The funerary boats also highlight the Egyptians' deep connection to the Nile and their reliance on water as a source of life and a pathway to the divine. Just as the Nile brought fertility and sustenance to the land, the funerary boats were believed to bring the deceased to a place of eternal peace and renewal. As we move forward, we'll uncover another intriguing artifact, the Amulet of Isis. This powerful symbol of protection and motherhood holds its own unique place in the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the secrets of these ancient relics. Now, let's turn our attention to the Amulet of Isis, a powerful symbol that embodies protection, motherhood, and divine power. This small yet significant artifact holds a special place in the hearts of ancient Egyptians, as it was deeply tied to one of their most revered goddesses, Isis. Known as the mother of Horus and the wife of Osiris, Isis was a central figure in Egyptian mythology, representing healing, magic, and the protection of the dead. The amulet bearing her likeness was more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a sacred object believed to carry her blessings and safeguard the wearer in both life and death. The amulet of Isis was often crafted from materials like faience, gold, or semi-precious stones, shaped into the form of a throne or a seated figure of the goddess. The throne symbolized her role as the queen of the gods, while her seated posture conveyed her nurturing and protective nature. These amulets were commonly placed on the bodies of the deceased during mummification, often positioned over the heart or near the throat. This placement was intentional, as it was believed to shield the soul from harm and ensure safe passage through the underworld. In funerary practices, the amulet of Isis served as a powerful talisman. It was thought to invoke the goddess's protection, helping the deceased navigate the dangers of the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that Isis, with her vast knowledge of magic and her unwavering devotion to her family, could intercede on behalf of the dead, offering them her guidance and strength. The amulet also symbolized rebirth and renewal, reflecting Isis's role in resurrecting Osiris and ensuring his eternal life. Beyond its funerary use, the amulet of Isis was also worn by the living, particularly by women seeking her blessings for fertility, safe childbirth, and protection for their families. This dual purpose, serving both the living and the dead, highlights the enduring significance of Isis in Egyptian culture. Her amulet was a tangible connection to her divine power, a reminder of her compassion and her ability to overcome even the greatest challenges. As we reflect on the amulet of Isis, we see how it encapsulates the essence of the goddess herself, a protector, a healer, and a source of hope. Its presence in tombs and on the bodies of the deceased underscores the Egyptians' belief in her ability to guide and safeguard souls on their journey to the afterlife. Next, we'll explore another fascinating artifact, the ostracon. These inscribed pottery shards offer a unique glimpse into the funerary texts and rituals of ancient Egypt, revealing more about their beliefs and practices. Stay with us as we continue to uncover the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld. Moving forward, let's uncover the secrets of the ostracon, a humble yet profoundly significant artifact from ancient Egypt. These inscribed pottery shards may seem unassuming at first glance, but they hold a wealth of information about the beliefs and rituals surrounding the afterlife. Ostraka, as they are collectively known, were essentially the ancient equivalent of scrap paper, repurposed from broken pottery or limestone flakes. Yet their role in funerary practices was anything but ordinary. The ostracon served as a medium for recording spells, prayers, and instructions meant to guide the deceased through the underworld. Unlike the more elaborate Book of the Dead, which was reserved for the elite, ostraka were accessible to a broader range of people, making them a vital part of everyday funerary customs. Their inscriptions often included excerpts from funerary texts, magical formulas, or even personal notes addressed to the gods. These writings were believed to provide the deceased with the knowledge and protection needed to navigate the challenges of the afterlife. One of the most fascinating aspects of ostraka is their diversity. Some contained detailed spells to ward off evil spirits, while others featured prayers for safe passage or appeals to deities like Osiris and Anubis. The content varied widely, reflecting the individual needs and circumstances of the deceased. For example, a farmer might have an ostracon inscribed with a prayer for fertile fields in the afterlife, while a soldier could carry one with a plea for protection in the eternal realm. This personalization made ostraka deeply meaningful to those who used them. The role of ostraka extended beyond mere guidance. They were also tools of communication between the living and the dead. Families often inscribed messages to their departed loved ones, expressing their hopes, prayers, and even requests for intercession. These heartfelt inscriptions reveal the intimate connection the ancient Egyptians felt with their ancestors and the afterlife, highlighting their belief in an ongoing relationship between the living and the deceased. Archaeologists have uncovered thousands of ostraca in tombs and burial sites, each offering a unique glimpse into the lives and beliefs of ancient Egyptians. These fragments, though often incomplete, provide invaluable insights into the rituals and texts that shaped their understanding of the underworld. They remind us that even the simplest objects can carry profound meaning, bridging the gap between the mundane and the divine. As we explore the ostracan, we gain a deeper appreciation for the resourcefulness and creativity of the ancient Egyptians. These inscribed shards, though modest in form, were powerful tools in their quest for eternal life. They remind us that the journey to the afterlife was not just a physical one, but also a spiritual and intellectual endeavor, guided by the wisdom preserved in these humble artifacts. Next, we'll step into the vibrant world of tomb paintings, where the walls of ancient burial chambers come alive with vivid depictions of the afterlife. Join us as we continue to unravel the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld. Now, let's step into the vivid and mesmerizing world of tomb paintings, where the walls of ancient Egyptian burial chambers come alive with breathtaking depictions of the afterlife. These intricate artworks are far more than mere decorations. They are windows into the beliefs, hopes, and rituals of a civilization deeply connected to the mysteries of the underworld. Tomb paintings served as a visual guide for the deceased, illustrating the journey they were expected to undertake in the afterlife. Each scene was carefully crafted to provide both instruction and reassurance, ensuring the soul could navigate the challenges of the underworld and reach the eternal paradise of the field of reeds. The paintings often depicted the deceased in the company of gods, performing rituals or receiving offerings, symbolizing their continued existence and divine favor. One of the most striking aspects of these paintings is their symbolism. Every color, figure, and object held a specific meaning. For example, the color green represented rebirth and regeneration, while blue symbolized the heavens and the divine. Gods like Osiris, Anubis, and Thoth frequently appeared in these scenes, each playing a role in guiding or judging the deceased. The paintings also included hieroglyphic inscriptions, which provided additional context and prayers to aid the soul on its journey. The purpose of tomb paintings extended beyond the spiritual. They were also a form of communication between the living and the dead. Families commissioned these artworks to honor their loved ones, ensuring their memory would endure. The scenes often depicted the deceased enjoying the pleasures of life, feasting, hunting, or engaging in leisure activities, reflecting the belief that the afterlife was a continuation of earthly existence, but free from suffering and hardship. Archaeologists have uncovered tomb paintings in some of Egypt's most famous burial sites, such as the Valley of the Kings and the tombs of nobles in Thebes. These artworks provide invaluable insights into the daily lives, religious practices, and artistic achievements of ancient Egyptians. They also reveal the meticulous planning and craftsmanship that went into creating these eternal resting places, where every detail was designed to ensure the deceased's safe passage and eternal happiness. As we explore these vibrant depictions, we gain a deeper understanding of how the ancient Egyptians envisioned the afterlife. Tomb paintings remind us that death was not an end but a transition, a journey to a realm where the soul could thrive in the presence of the gods. They are a testament to the enduring human desire to make sense of the unknown and to find hope in the face of mortality. With this final artifact, we've journeyed through 30 mysterious relics that reveal the profound connection between ancient Egypt and the underworld. From the Ankh to the tomb paintings, each artifact tells a story of life, death, and the eternal quest for meaning. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Egyptian underworld. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fascinating insights into history's greatest mysteries. Until next time, keep exploring. As we bring this journey through the Egyptian underworld to a close, it's impossible not to marvel at the depth and richness of these 30 mysterious artifacts. Each one, from the Ankh to the tomb paintings, offers a unique glimpse into the beliefs, rituals, and hopes of a civilization that saw death not as an end, but as a gateway to eternal life. These relics are more than just objects. They are stories etched in stone, painted on walls, and carved into the very fabric of history. The Ankh, with its promise of eternal life, reminds us of the ancient Egyptians' unshakable faith in the continuity of existence. The Book of the Dead, filled with spells and prayers, reveals their meticulous preparation for the afterlife. The CANOPIC jars and Shabti figures speak to their dedication to preserving both body and soul, ensuring the deceased could thrive in the next world. And the tomb paintings, with their vivid depictions of the field of reeds, show us how they envisioned a paradise free from suffering, where the soul could live in harmony with the gods. Yet, even as we uncover these artifacts and decode their meanings, mysteries remain. How did the ancient Egyptians conceive such intricate rituals and symbols? What inspired their profound connection to the underworld, and what secrets might still lie hidden, waiting to be discovered in the sands of time? These questions remind us that the past is not a closed book, but an ongoing conversation, one that invites us to explore, question, and imagine. As we reflect on these enduring mysteries, we're reminded of the universal human desire to understand life, death, and what lies beyond. The artifacts of the Egyptian underworld are not just relics of a bygone era. They are timeless reminders of our shared curiosity and our quest for meaning. Now it's your turn to join the conversation. What do you think these artifacts reveal about the ancient Egyptians' view of the afterlife? Do you have a favorite artifact or a theory about its significance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you've enjoyed this journey through the mysteries of the Egyptian underworld, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more explorations into history's greatest enigmas. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, keep uncovering the stories that shape our world.